Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I am Mel Soul, Director of Instruction and Master Professional at the Mel Soul Golf School. We are located at Pawleys Plantation Golf and Country Club in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. We also have locations in Sunset Beach, North Carolina, and I have just recently returned from my New York school up in Ellicottville, New York. I had a fantastic time there. The weather was great. It's a very, very nice practice facility. Unfortunately, the Canadian border, which is really close by, was still closed because of COVID. And so I didn't get any Canadians there, so my revenue was down a little bit. But we still had a good time. And you know, what I noticed there very strongly as opposed to this area here was the difference in masks. And I now wear my mask every single day. And it's just very simply pulling it up or pulling it down, and I can have this like that in a few seconds. When I get into the car, I pull it off. And so I think that's one of the reasons why upstate New York is having such a great response and their death rate is extremely low, is masks. So I hope a year or two from now, when I'm going through my videos and I come across this, I'm going to go, wow, we used to wear masks. You know, hopefully this is going to go away at some point. So what I want to talk about today is actually the group of people that is at the most risk with COVID, and that is senior golfers. And what I want to talk about is equipment. So I have been teaching about 3 or 4 senior golfers that have been coming to me for 1-hour lessons in the last couple of months. And the thing that I notice with all of them, without exception, is the equipment is not right for them. The shaft is wrong, the length is wrong, the swing weight is wrong. So you want to make sure as a senior golfer that you're getting the maximum out of your clubs. I recently switched after going through a club fitting for myself. I noticed that my club head speed with my irons had dropped. And so I changed from a stiff shaft, which I've used my whole life, and I'm now using a regular shaft. In fact, this is a very light regular shaft. And the same thing with my driver. And so I noticed immediately that I got a little bit more distance because of the lighter shaft, and I'm managing to generate a little more club head speed because of that. So that's the first thing. But things like grip thickness. Pay attention to the size of your hands and whether this grip is right. And the way you check it is if you close, and I'm going to come up to the camera here, and David's going to guide me as to get this in proper focus. But if you look there, you'll notice that the tip of my index finger here is just touching. It's not pressing into it, it's just touching. And so if it's just touching, that's the correct size of grip. If there was a gap like this, the grip would be too thick, and if it was pressing into my flesh over there, that would mean the grip was too thin. So do that little check, and that'll tell you whether your grip thickness is correct. The length of the club and the lie of the club. Most people play with a club where the lie angle is not correct, and when I'm teaching and they're hitting an iron, I'll notice the divot is either toe deep or heel deep. And what by that I mean, when they hit the divot, the toe side of the divot is deeper than the heel side, or vice versa. That's telling you that the lie angle of your club is incorrect. The way to get your lie angle correct is to use a lie board. So any hard plastic or wood surface, and you put a piece of either insulation tape would be something that I've used in the past. You can buy little strips of impact tape that fit on the bottom of your club, and so when you put the ball on the board and you hit, it'll leave a mark as to where the club is hitting. The mark should be right in the middle. If the mark is towards the heel, it means that the lie is too upright, and if the mark is on the toe, it means it's too flat, it needs to be made more upright. If it's here, it means that it's too upright, it needs to be made flat. So that needs to be taken into consideration. So grip thickness, length. at some of these superstores, go and ask them to measure you for the length of your club, because some measure from the fingertips down to the ground, some measure from the knuckles down to the ground. Whatever they use, this is what you want to make sure that the length of your clubs are correct. I had a gentleman in class the other day who's about 6'4", and he had standard length clubs. He needed clubs that were almost 2 inches, about 1.5 inches longer. And so he went away, and I got him to go to a local store and get some. Wow, what a difference it made to his ball striking. The final thing is taking care of your clubs. You want to put a new set of grips on your club once a year. If you're a regular player, you want to do a regular set of grips once a year. Sorry about the noise, but they got to come by me here right as I'm filming. So new grips once a year, and then every 2 or 3 months, take your clubs and get some soap and a scrubbing brush and scrub them really hard. You'll be surprised how much dirt comes out of a club, and then dry it, and your grips will start to feel sticky again, and you won't lose the feel of your clubs. So there you have it for you senior golfers. Taking care of the clubs applies to everyone. Senior golfers, check your equipment, make sure you're using the right equipment so that you can get the maximum out of your game. Thanks for watching.